concludes all operations of the emergency alert system. All stations may now resume regular programming.
For expanding its sphere of influence on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy.
Okay, so the plan for this week is just to release 3 shorter videos, and the reason being is because we have to get into COP27 and the G20 Summit as well. And really, you will not believe some of the things they are saying. However, first, we have this. Now, this is a developing story, but it is important, and I think we should touch on it. Now, okay, I am still trying to wrap my head around all of this too, so let's just kind of see what everyone's talking about. We have Sam Bankman, and to start, let me ask you a question. Now, if you were engaging in a criminal conspiracy, what's the best method of ensuring your survival? Well, of course, it's the old, tried and true method of getting some politicians in your pockets, and that is exactly what he did. So let's go over some background, and I quote, "Within the span of a few days, FTX co-founder Sam Bankman, known in the industry as SBF, well, according to reports, he lost nearly all of his $16 billion fortune in what Bloomberg called one of history's greatest ever destructions of wealth." I mean, yeah, right. At least a couple billion is offshore. More than likely, he did not lose it all. Shadow banking is a real thing. Now, do you happen to remember the Panama Papers? And maybe I should do a video on that. I have an idea for looking into the federal banking system, so I don't know, maybe I can combine the two subjects and find some correlations. Yeah, we should probably look into that. Anyway, and I quote, Reuters reported that between $1 billion and $2 billion in customer funds vanished from the FTX cryptocurrency exchange. The outlet also claimed that FTX secretly funneled $10 billion of customer funds into a trading company, Alameda Research. And as it turns out, his alleged girlfriend, Caroline Ellison, ran the sister trading company. Wait a second though, Who is Caroline Ellison? Well, apparently she is the daughter of Glenn Ellison, the former boss of Gary Gensler, the supposed head of the SEC. Now I say supposed because he doesn't run the SEC as intended. It is just an establishment tool for protecting the ones on top and destroying the economic investment opportunities of the little guy. Well, shit. Now that I say that, maybe he is running this exactly as intended. However, that makes me wonder, what about Sam Bankman's family? Well, as it turns out, and I quote, on April 25th, 2019, Joe Biden announces his presidential campaign. 13 days later, on May 8th, 2019, Sam Bankman, the son of Barbara, the co-founder of the political fundraising organization Mind the Gap and Get Out the Vote organizations, including the Center of Voter Information, launches FTX Crypto Exchange. The exchange is an overnight success that enables Sam to become the second biggest donor to the Biden campaign, and that really makes you think. Now he's only second behind George Soros, of course. So again, his mother launched a total grassroots Democrat PAC in July 2018. And you wonder how you're going to raise enough funds to make a difference. Well, your son coincidentally becomes a multi-billionaire a few months later. Sometimes things just have a way of working themselves out, I guess. End of quote. Yeah, that is pretty crazy. Okay, so from there, let's just try to explore this a little more. There are lots of establishment connections, that's for sure. And I'll just add that he has been involved with a tech conference with Bill Clinton, he met with the Bushes, he was all in on the ESG climate initiatives, the World Economic Forum gave him a great ESG score, and yes, he backed every World Economic Forum proposal. And it is just fitting that he's being exposed as a crook, because they all are. I really hope this blows up, I really do. In fact, check this out. This guy Sam Bankman created and funded an organization known as Guarding Against Pandemics, and it was going to be run by his brother. The organization worked to lobby the Biden administration for a $30 billion allocation. Yeah, lots and lots of red flags. And this post has a quick recap, and I quote again. So in April 2019, Biden announces his presidential campaign, and 13 days later, Sam Bankman, the son of Barbara, a Stanford professor and co-founder of political fundraising organizations Mind the Gap and Get the Vote Out, well, he launches an FTX crypto exchange. The exchange is magically an overnight success, and he becomes the second biggest donor to Biden. Election day, FTX implodes completely. If you think the scandal is done, it goes even deeper. So Sam Bankman's brother, Gabe, a former Jane Street trader, is the founder of Guarding Against Pandemics. Now he was also a legislative correspondent for the U.S. House of Representatives. However, that is not all. He was also an advisor to large political donors in the Democrat Party. Now from there, the Bankman's aunt, Linda, is a World Economic Forum member on the Global Agenda Council on Aging. Now his father, Joseph Bankman, is also a Stanford professor and has lobbied on behalf of hedge fund managers before Congress. Okay, the FTX head of ventures is Amy Wu, who started with the Clinton Foundation years ago. From there, Mr. Singh, the FTX director of engineering, has spent over $8 million on Democrat candidates. And finally, Obama's commodity futures trading commissioner, Mark Wedgen, was literally the head of FTX policy and regulation. Reports were that the organization wanted to spend over $1 billion on the Democrat Party for 2024. A massive money laundering operation has just been broken open. Now from there, do you remember when anyone who dared to suggest that Ukraine was being used for money laundering was just dismissed as a conspiracy theorist? Well, apparently the Ukraine military partnered with FTX, and the military aid that the US government was sending over there went into the exchange. So once again, let me get this straight. And I quote, "It is increasingly looking like the Democrats' 2022 campaigns were funded by kickbacks from Ukraine funding, using FTX as a pass-through vehicle." Yeah, that is not good. No wonder this dude is scared for his life after ripping off these people. Yes, that is true. So if you were going to host a game show, who was going to be Epstein next? I think we might have a frontrunner. Now again, as I said, I'm still trying to figure all of this out too, so let me know if you guys have any more details or anything like that to add. Or if I got something wrong, definitely let me know, okay? So after all of this happened, Janet Yellen came out and said that because of the FTX collapse and various crimes, well, we need to regulate crypto. Okay. So let me try to get this straight once again. So he donates to Democrat politicians, he funnels billions offshore, and the collapse of FTX ultimately leads to crypto regulation, which will then lead to US CBDCs, programmable money, so that the government can dictate what you can and cannot purchase. I don't know, that all seems wildly coincidental. And once again, let me get this straight. So Biden laundered our tax money to Ukraine. Ukraine laundered that money through FTX crypto. FTX funneled that money into Democrat PACs and candidates. So basically, our taxes paid for Democrat elections. Is this correct? And then Styx replies, apparently, it is something along those lines. This is crazy. Now, just to finish up, I want to touch on a few strange stories. Just real quick, an interesting little thing happened. So let's read what Tom Fitton says regarding this. And I quote, "So Jeff Bezos, Washington Post, Bezos is a business competitor of Elon Musk. Well, they worked with a leftist senator, Ed Markey, to create a fake Twitter account for the senator. All of this was in order to generate a government investigation of Twitter, a media and government corruption scandal. How crazy is that? The media colluding with government, a sitting senator manipulating a scenario that would trigger an investigation. Corruption. But the media is entirely separate from establishment politics, right? What's next? So George W. Bush and Obama will be holding rallies for democracy together. The Uniparty. Yes, it is the Uniparty. I don't know how the quote-unquote resistant Democrat voters do not see this. You are supporting the same establishment that consists of your old foe, George W. Bush, but they do not see the game. They don't see the discrepancies between what they claim to believe and what they actually support. They don't see that it's all political theater. On top of that, let's just add that Bush is also going to be holding public conversations with Zelensky, stressing the importance of perpetuating war. However, I did just see a story saying that Ukraine declares that the war must end. So perhaps the money laundering schemes have them a little worried. I don't know, we'll see. If I had to place a bet on what happens next, I might place money down on war escalation instead of it ending. Overall, the war helps with their agenda. The energy crisis, the food crisis, the humanitarian crisis, all of it. Yes, it helps push their Great Reset agenda, death and destruction. Your lives are just collateral damage. And the next couple of videos, the COP27 and the G20 Summit will illustrate this. Stay tuned, but until then, once again, this is HelioWave. If you like the content, like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video if you want to. If you're in a position to, consider subscribing on Locals or Subscribestar. However, make sure you disobey those true fascistas, and yes, I do hope you have a good night.